I got a perfect math score on the GMAT twice. And the second time, I actually didn't even study the math. Now, growing up, I scored the highest in every math class I was in. There were standardized tests I took for the city, the district, even the state, where I set the curve at times. And so it's no surprise that I was pretty good at math. I mean, even in college, I actually did bioengineering at UCSD, which had the hardest tracks for math. However, when I entered the business world, I quickly realized that the answers aren't from using the most complex formulas. The goal is actually to find the simplest way from going from point A to point Z correctly, and by using the most simplest solutions to get you there. So oftentimes in business, people overcomplicate stuff, and when things get, complex, their solutions get complicated. It's actually the opposite. The goal is to find the simplest way from getting from point A to point Z correctly. And so I applied that same logic when I took the GMATs. When these complex problems came about, I would take 2 to 3 simple arithmetic solutions, such as probability, geometry, etc. And I would take a look at the problem and figure out what 2 or 3 solutions can I combine to provide a custom way of getting from point A to point Z correctly. Now, all my peers and the other folks taking the test were sitting there trying to figure out what is that one formula that might be super complex to get from point A to point Z, and they may or may not even get that answer correctly. And that's the same problem right now in the business world. The same logic applies when it comes to business and in life. The tougher and more complex the problem, the more likely you're going to need to use a multitude of simple solutions to create something custom for that scenario. One personal example that applies to nutrition and exercise for me was when I moved back from New York to Orange County, I actually came back with super high cholesterol for the first time in my life. I was eating like a crazy person the last month or two. And so now I was trying to figure out, how do I get rid of the cholesterol? In my head, it was creating this complex routine of nutritional diet plus workouts, Monday through Sunday, all this crazy stuff. However, I had a super busy travel schedule at the time when I was running sales nationally for a huge startup company. To give you an example of my travel, literally I'd work from home Monday, Scottsdale Tuesday, Dallas Wednesday, Chicago Thursday, New York Friday, back home Saturday. And that was 2 to 3 out of the 4 weeks of the month for me for a good 3 to 4 years. So how was I going to follow a chaotic nutrition and workout plan? This is when, number one, I discovered intermittent fasting. I realized that it's much easier to not eat than to eat healthy while you're in airports or traveling or on a flight. That made a huge difference in my cholesterol. Number two, I joined ClassPass. And what I realized was, if I can jump into an organized class that is going to push me to my limits and get me the results I need, that's going to be way more efficient than me trying to create this chaotic and over complex workout routine at all these different hotels where I'm not familiar with, the surroundings. And then number three, the most important unlock was getting a personal trainer. Once I brought him on, and it's not just about getting a trainer, but the best in the business out here in Orange County, he's taught me how to work out efficiently and create the maximum output. And what's the result? I'm in the best shape of my life at 40, turning 41 soon. You're taught at a young age, whether it's in school or by your teachers, and then even later on in business and in your career, from mediocre and often sheep bosses, which is majority of them, that there's only one specific technique or approach to solve a complex problem. And that's just not true. It's really a combination of innovation and collaboration that is the key in solving some of the toughest problems out there. And sometimes it lies in the most overlooked yet simplest techniques out there.